Today I want to talk to you about spinal degenerative changes and what that means. So spinal degenerative changes involve the bones in the spine as well as the discs and nerves that are through them. So here is textbook normal. You can see that the vertebrae are nice and smooth, no ridges, no edges. You can see the discs are nice and thick and juicy. They're not bulging out. This is normal. You can see the nerves that come out from the sides. This is your spinal cord, and the nerves that come out to go to your arms and legs and everywhere else. The hole where that nerve comes out is very nice and big. Again, no issues, it's not smaller, there's no bone spurs, nothing going on. And then through here you can see the disc. This is the nucleus pulposus, which is mostly water, and you have the annulus around here. There's no tears, and you can see where the spinal cord comes out. It's a nice, there's no obstructions here, right? The hole is pretty big where everything is coming out of. So this is textbook normal. This is kind of through our 30s that we look like this. Definitely through our 20s and into our 30s. Then we start to degenerate as we get closer to 40. And so here's an example of that. And you can see already that there's disc bulge here, where it's kind of bulging out on the sides. You can see that this hole is a little bit more narrow because of that disc bulge, right? And so it's not touching the nerve, right? The nerve's okay still, but it's just kind of making that hole a little bit smaller. You can see the annulus has some tearing in it, okay? And you can see the nucleus isn't as filled with water, right? It's not as cushy, I guess. And the spinal cord still looks pretty good, but it is the smallest bit narrowed in this age. As we move up into our 60s, you can start to really see changes, okay? And you can see that the vertebrae here have a lot of these undulations on them, and that's just degenerative changes. It's bone growth over time. You can see that the discs have narrowed significantly, so that there's really not a lot of disc material left, right? Here you have, let's see, where is it? Here it is. You have a disc herniation here, which is physically touching this nerve, and that can cause other symptoms for you. Also this way you can see the disc herniation from here, and that these annular tears have become a little more chronic and there's more of them. And here where the spinal cord comes out, there's really not much of a hole there anymore. I mean, you can still see it, but it's much more narrowed, and the disc herniation doesn't help in that aspect. And you can see here the facet joints too, that they have little ridges and undulations on them here too, where you could see here they're minimal. This is kind of the 40s, right? It's very minimal. It's pretty good. And there's none in our textbook option. So then we get to around 80 years old, and you can see a lot more bone spurs coming in. This is starting to autofuse together. The disc is nearly non-existent. It's really not there anymore. You can see here there's a lot of the disc material has really gone down. The annulus is very dehydrated, the nucleus pulposus is really dehydrated. The annulus still has little tears in them. This side, yep, here's another disc herniation. It's become a little bit more chronic now. That's why it's kind of a darker color. Again, it's still touching this nerve and irritating it. And then here, there's not much space here at all, right, for the spinal cord to come through. This is called spinal stenosis, central canal stenosis specifically, and this is foraminal stenosis, is when the holes on the sides are getting too small. So now, I want to point out that none of these people have to be in pain, right? This looks terrible on x-ray, but this person isn't necessarily in pain. Could this disc herniation be causing them pain? Sure, but it also might not be. They might not even know it's there. So I don't want you to think that if someone tells you have spinal degeneration or arthritis, they'll say, oh, you have arthritis. This is the natural aging process. So you will go from here to here, to here, to here, to here, over the course of your life. And you don't necessarily have to be in pain. Now, again, could you be in pain? Sure. Will you be a little bit more stiff because of the facet joints having less synovial fluid and having those undulating bone spurs kind of attached? Sure. But you don't have to be suffering. I don't want, if you have a disc herniation from an injury, it doesn't mean you won't be in pain for the rest of your life. They can heal, and even if they don't heal, they can become asymptomatic. So degenerative changes do happen as we age. It's the natural aging process. There's nothing wrong with you. When people tell you have arthritis, again, unless it's rheumatoid arthritis, but osteoarthritis is generally the natural aging process. It will happen to everyone. It's why we shrink when we get older, because again, you can see the disc height here versus, I'll use the 60-year-old, versus this disc height here, right? You can see how you would lose inches. Most of that is due from the dehydrating of the discs and the disc degenerating, and that's why we shrink as we get older, right? So can you avoid it completely? No, it's the natural aging process. But you can, if you stay hydrated and stay active as you age, you can kind of lessen it or kind of prolong it so that maybe you're, 90 when you look like this versus, 65 or 70, which, that can happen, right? Especially if you have a very physical job, you can have this degeneration a little bit earlier. I know I've seen it, but if you drink plenty of water, you can help with the dehydration problem. And staying active is your best bet, honestly. It can be, a painful starting movement, but you just keep moving and keep doing it over and over and over. And over time, you'll regain range of motion or at least not lose what you already have. So that's a little bit about spinal degenerative changes. I hope you've learned something today, and I'll talk to you again some other time.